There's nothing more delicious than freshly baked bread. But when it's hot outside, do you really want to heat up your boat by firing up the oven to bake? Well, maybe you don't have to. Hi there, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley podcast, I'll share my friend Jan Iron's best tips for baking bread on the grill. Jan was my co-author of the Boat Galley cookbook, and she really knows what she's talking about. Anyways, baking bread on the grill is a real game changer. Now, this episode of the Boat Galley podcast is brought to you by R&W Rope Rigging Solutions. R&W's experienced rigging team can handle any size project, from running and standing rigging to furlers, winches, inspections, and more. They carry all major brands and customize to your requirements. Use coupon code PODCAST10 for 10% off all rope and hardware, including architectural and decorative projects. Visit RW Rope or call for a consultation. Okay, as I said, this information all comes from my friend Jan Irons. She was my co-author on the Boat Galley cookbook and knows exactly what she is talking about when it comes to doing anything on the grill. She and her husband are phenomenal grillers. And Dave and I aren't exactly. Using her directions, I have done bread on the grill several times now. It is so good. It is absolutely wonderful. And her directions make it easy. Said Jan, one of the reasons that they rarely made bread on board was because of the heat generated by the oven in their boat. Then they started doing it on the grill, and it made all the difference in the world. She says, every grill is different. You need to get to know your grill before you have that perfect loaf of bread. But after a couple of trial runs, everyone will be asking how you did it. I'll bet the first loaf off your grill will be just fine. Mine was a bit burnt on the bottom, but tasty, hot, and delicious. And nothing smells better than fresh baking bread wafting out over the anchorage. Now, use any bread recipe. In the show notes, we've listed 3 links for some of the recipes that are on the Boat Galley: the white bread, the Swedish rye, or the zucchini bread. Rolls and buns will bake in about 15 to 20 minutes. Loaves will take 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the exact size and temperature. Be sure to check fairly often to monitor the progress. Okay, Jan gave me several tips when I was starting to do this. Smaller loaves or rolls are better because they'll bake all the way through before burning on the bottom. She recommends trying the Swedish rye recipe first. It's sized to make a small personal loaf size, perfect for 2 for dinner. Be sure to slash the top of the loaf 2 or 3 times to release the steam while the bread is baking. I forgot the first time to do this, and my bread was good, but it was a little bit soggier inside. Those slashes really do help it open up. And grills don't circulate hot air as well as your oven. You may need to move the loaf around a few times so that it will bake evenly. Burning the bottom is the most common mistake in grilling bread. Don't set the bread just in the middle of the grill unless you have a grill that has better temperature control than most. I ended up turning a metal loaf pan upside down and placed some foil on top of it for insulation, and then set the loaf on that. You can try putting 2 metal pans together to get the bread further away from the heat and also insulating that bottom a little bit. If you have an elevated rack, you can use that. Whatever, just experiment. But if the bottom is burning, move it away from the hottest point of heat and elevate it a little bit more. Now, if you decide to do burgers on the grill, try baking some buns first. The buns can be cooling while you finish grilling the burgers. And man, they are so good having them fresh. Unfortunately, I'm diabetic now, so I bake bread just for Dave. I get that wonderful smell, but I don't get to eat it. Anyways, baking bread on the grill is absolutely fantastic. I recommend trying it for a few times before you do it when you're having company over. But I think that you will be absolutely amazed at how good it is and how easy it is. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Boat Galley podcast. Please, if you like it, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, and tell your friends about it.